To the lenders in the room, you will confront massive defaults in the next 6 to 9 months. To property owners in the room, you will confront massive defaults in your portfolio. So a couple of basic concepts. And by the way, I don't care if you're a residential developer or a business owner who owns their real estate. Lenders and borrowers, if they didn't fight in 1988 to 1991, by 1994, every property value came back. We would not have needed the RTC, and the American taxpayer would not have gotten fucked royally during that period. And I can't use another word. Now, in 2008, when everything went down, there was a little bit different issue. The nationals were building homes in tertiary markets that didn't need to be built on. I was an advisor to the chairman of GMAC. I was senior advisor to EMC Mortgage, the 8th biggest subprime lender. They sent me out to places. I was like, Calexico, California? Has anybody ever heard of Calexico, California? It's on the border of Mexicali. We either fly in by private jet. When you fly for 2 hours, you see nothing. And then you see Mexicali, which has got 20 million people. Every national home builder was building 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 home projects. They had all started about 50 to 100, and they all had infrastructure in for another 1,000, had the big clubhouse. And I had the benefit of looking at all of their appraisals. I'm talking for 10,000, probably 20 projects, 10,000 units. They all had the same one guy who built 5 houses. One guy built 5 houses and caused 5,000 units to get approved by their banks, the national home builders. So the 08, the absorption of the 08 product, and by the way, you got to hand it to Wall Street. What did they do? There was stuff that should have never been built. So what did they do? They bought it back and created the single-family rental business, right? So the good news is this time it ain't housing. If you have a housing development under construction, if it's horizontal, cut it off, slow it down. If it's vertical, you got to get it finished. You can't leave a 10-story building 5 stories in the air. The bank and the builder got to get realistic. And by the way, the bank thinks they're going to foreclose. You're out of your mind. I've tried to explain one thing to commercial mortgage lenders that do real estate and construction lending. You think you have a first mortgage. You got nothing. The plumber, the electrician, and the HVAC contractor have permits you cannot substitute. You are all walking around in a daze if you think you have a first mortgage. You have a second mortgage behind the plumber, electrician, and HVAC's permit. Try to rip their permit out of the building department. Never happening. So just make love, not war. Everything's going to be better in a few years. So if you're vertical, finish. If you got land, just chill. There's things you can do if you own land. By the way, when I started, there used to be one permit, a building permit. Now you got a freaking county permit, a state permit, an environmental permit. Finish all your permitting. Just because you own land and you're not building doesn't mean you shouldn't be adding value. If you got finished product, get real about the value. For sale product has come down. Now, rental rates on rental stuff has gone up, but so has your perm. So you got to get more creative. You're not getting, look, literally we had a 250 unit, $75 million project. Guy got refied for 2.7% last August. 2.7. We got another guy who just refied last week, 6.5. Same deal, same product. Rents ain't changed that much. So you got to get a variable floater. You got to ride it out, tighten your belt. The drastic, first in a lifetime, undersupply will eventually It's there now, but it's not at the forefront. Until the media starts talking about undersupply, it's not going to become something that will give comfort to all the markets. But for real estate, it will not be as bad as the last two things in my life. And the day we get the help back, I'm done with this business. I'm going to retire. I put in 42 years. I figure I put in 3 more, get my crew through this, and then blind monkeys can make money. So, anybody got any questions?